Good evening, everybody. Should be able to hear me, as well as Ryan. Again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma alongside Ryan. And we are the Michigan Storm Chasers here with a winter weather slash flash freeze briefing tonight. First and foremost, feel free to hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Smash that subscribe button as well if you're a first-time viewer. We'd love to have you join the MSC family. You can let us know where you're watching from tonight and your favorite activity that occurred today, and then we will get started. Sounds like we are coming through nice and fine here, according to chat.
I'll go ahead and test mine. Let me know how I sound as well.
Looks like you're nice and loud on my end. It's peaking even. So,
Perfect.
well, we've got a lot coming through in the next 48 hours, all kind of confined within the next 48 hours, honestly. And we will go ahead and start with looking at two different models. So the models we're referencing tonight will be the HRRR and the NAM 3K. These are our most popular, most usually correct model runs that we usually go after. So we will be showing these off to you guys tonight in terms of precipitation, when it's supposed to occur, perhaps some thunderstorms, precipitation totals, whether that's rain, maybe transitioning over to snow, as well as snowfall totals. We'll also have our wind projections up, and then we'll end the stream tonight with kind of a look at our flash freeze timing. And again, we released a bunch of graphics on our page today over at Michigan Storm Chasers on Facebook. If you'd like to go check those out, they are there for your viewing pleasure. So first and foremost, we'll go ahead and take a look at our two different radar loops over the next 48 hours. These models were released this afternoon around 2 p.m., and so we'll go ahead and jump through them here, starting with the HRRR run. So this is kind of your hour by hour in terms of precipitation. As we roll into later tonight, this is going to be midnight tonight, perhaps a little bit of freezing drizzle up there in the Keweenaw, as well as some gusty winds. As we move into the daybreak hours tomorrow, this is now 12Z, which is the equivalent to 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 o'clock. This is when we start to see our first batch of showers and perhaps thunderstorms roll in. Anywhere on the screen here that you see those lines, those dots kind of that are changing over to these oranges and reds, that's heavy precipitation, as well as perhaps a couple thunderstorms embedded within this line. There's a very strong low-level jet in the area, and so some of these showers may be gusty in nature as well. As we move from around noon, so this is noon here, into the afternoon hours, there is 1, 2, 3 o'clock. We have that secondary line of showers that kind of gives the entire lower peninsula as well as portions of the upper peninsula a now nice drenching of rain. Move towards 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening. Then we have this dry slot kind of moving in. Not too crazy of a dry slot, but this is what the HRRR has given us. Dry slot there right behind that line. Again, this is going to be around 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, and those temperatures will start to dip, so you see that rain in green starting to transition over to blue in snow. As we fast forward this again, we could have a couple different snow squalls pop up as well. This is now 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and we do see lake effect snow starting to ramp up across the western UP and in West Michigan, kind of embedded within those snow squalls. We move forward to 11 o'clock and midnight. Lake effect snow well underway for much of the state as we head into Friday. We mentioned the flash freeze threat. If there is rain that hasn't evaporated from perhaps the winds on the ground, then this snow, which may be even a dusting, will hide that ice at the surface. So that's another thing we have to look forward to here for pretty much the entire state as we move into Friday morning. This is now 2 a.m. And you might have checked our forecast earlier today, and you might have seen over on the east side of the state, no snow is expected between now and the end of the day of Friday. That will likely be changed as the HRRR now has a couple snow squalls moving across into the east side of the state and the thumb. Again, we'll check the NAM here in just a second. As we move into the morning hours on Friday, this is now 7 a.m. You can see most of our snow squalls that have crossed the entire state are now off into Ontario. And further back in the western UP, the lake effect snow is starting to taper off. And eventually, by the time we get to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, and then noon, besides the normal spots of Kalkaska, Antrim County, and perhaps central UP, pretty much all of our lake effect snow is done and gone. And that's actually where our 48 hours runs out there at about 1 p.m. on Friday afternoon. Now, if we take a look at the NAM, we'll kind of fly through it here. It's going to be kind of the same story. We move into 8 a.m. tomorrow. On Thursday, that's when our rain is about to start for much of the state. There's our first line moving through around noon to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we move into the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock hours, and we have that giant secondary line, which is more of rain instead of perhaps a couple pop-up thunderstorms, which will be primarily for the southeast side of the state in terms of those thunderstorms, as I mentioned. Move in towards 6 o'clock. Now we got 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. There's your dry slot. Again, this is something we will have to watch because, as I mentioned, if there is enough wind between the batches of snow and rain, then we could have some of this precipitation that's at the surface start to dry out. That means that flash freeze is not as likely. So something to be monitoring. Still, the probabilities of a flash freeze are heightened for Friday morning. But just showing you guys this right now, this is what the precipitation looks like in terms of where it's going to fall and where the dry slots are occurring. So this is now 11 o'clock Thursday night, moving into Friday morning. You can see that lake effect snow starting to ramp up. Heavier the blues you see, the more likely that it will be heavy lake effect snow. So most of that will be where those snow squalls are going to be located, primarily in northern Michigan and the UP. But as you can see on the NAM, it does have over here in the Oakland area around 1 a.m. one tiny little snow squall moving across, and maybe perhaps a couple more as we move into the very early hours on Friday. And so this is now 6 a.m. as everyone's waking up for their Friday commute. You can see lake effect snow all up and down the Lake Michigan shoreline, all along the Lake Superior shoreline, and that'll continue to taper off as we get towards that noon time frame on the NAM run as well, besides for those areas in central UP and the Gaylord, Kalkaska, Antrim regions up there in northern lower peninsula. And as we move into late stages of Friday, really starts to clear out. We won't talk about Saturday yet. There could be another small clipper moving through on Saturday, perhaps Sunday. But for right now, the main concern will be the rain, the snow, the wind, and of course, our flash freeze that is expected to come here in the next 36 hours, really here for the state of Michigan. Now, with all of this being said, we will go from each forecast. For the HRRR here, we'll go ahead and check out our precipitation totals. This is going to be, again, through 1 p.m. on Friday. Some of this will fall as snow, so keep that in mind. Most of that will fall snow primarily across the upper peninsula, but some of those lake effect belts as well will see that rain change over to snow. So again, this is what's called liquid equivalent. So if this falls as all rain, this is how much rain you're expected to get. As we can see, moving into Friday, the heaviest batches of rain will be primarily along Lake Superior, and of course down there in southeast Michigan, which does line up pretty well with our forecast that we released earlier this morning. Totals there in the dark greens to even the blues are of a ½ inch or greater. Not too many spots really topping out around an inch. There could be maybe 1 or 2 spots that does get heavier thunderstorms over a short period of time, so they may exceed 1 inch, but for the most part, everyone should see between, probably 0.3 and 0.75 inches of rain between now and Friday morning. Again, as you can see, they're starting to see more of that liquid equivalent pop off in the lake effect belts along Lake Michigan, and of course up there in Lake Superior, which will fall as snow. So again, that's liquid equivalent if it were to all fall as rain, hypothetically speaking. Of course, here with this system, it will be half and half. Now we talk about snow. Again, this is kind of our back burner hazard for this system as it's kind of run through. Actually, we'll go ahead and check out the NAM here real quick for their totals as well. I mentioned I was going to go back and forth between the two just to kind of cross-reference, make sure we're doing our homework here. Here's the rainfall, kind of the same story. Most totals there between 0.3 and 0.75 inches across the entire lower peninsula and up there towards Lake Superior. Now we will go ahead and check out snow over the next 48 hours, starting with Thursday, which will be pretty blank, as I mentioned. A lot of warm air. Temperatures are going to be very warm out there, so snow is not likely to happen until we get that cold front to move through starting very late tomorrow night, Thursday. Snow will start in the UP first. That is just how things progress here in the United States from west to east. And as we move into Friday morning, this is now as of midnight going into Friday. You can see our lake effect snow is starting to ramp up. Heavier totals already showing up in the western UP. We move towards 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., then move towards 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. And you can see all up and down the Lake Michigan shoreline, there is perhaps 1 to 3 inches of snow in the UP, really close to that 2 to 6 category where there are winter weather advisories already in effect. Now you'll also notice, as I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, there are totals of 0.4, 0.5, 0.8, all the way over to the east side of the state. Again, that's not much snow, but it will obscure any ice that is on the surfaces that is left over from the flash freeze. So roads will be deceivingly slick on Friday if they don't dry out in time, especially if these snow squalls, which are projected to move across the state, do move over to your neck of the woods. So this is snowfall through Friday. That is one of the hazards of the 4 or 5 that we mentioned so far. If we take a look at the NAM, just our other model run here, it'll be kind of the same story. Totals, for the most part, more on the respectable side of things. Totals still kind of lower. Still watching those hot spots, of course, across the upper ranges of the Porcupine Mountains, over there in Alger County, and of course, the Kalkaska and Antrim County region. But for the most part, snow is going to be on the lighter side. This event totals kind of around that 1 to 3 zone, unless you are away from the lake effect belts. So that is snow. Now we move on to the winds, and these have kind of been flip-flopping in terms of where the heaviest of the winds will be over the next 48 hours. We'll go back to the HRRR run here. Surface winds, wind gusts. So these gusts are not what's sustained. Sustained is completely different. Sustained is the wind that's supposed to be expected as it continues from hour to hour. Gusts are just occasional mixing in up to these certain ranges. So we start with the HRRR. Late tonight. As you can see, it's already gusty up there in the upper peninsula. As we move into midnight, the winds really start to pop off. In fact, there's already some wind advisories up there in the western upper peninsula. All of those colors you see on your screen that are green to orange to even some reds, those are winds of 35 to 40 to 50 miles per hour and even close to 60 in spots where the reds are showing up. So this is as of midnight tonight. You can see the gales already starting to kick in on the lake, so it's going to be very gusty along the lake shores over the next 48 hours. As we move towards 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and 6 a.m., those gusts start to transition towards the lower peninsula. You can see those greens starting to fill in. And as we move into the day on Thursday, when I mentioned those gusty showers, that's exactly what's going to be happening here. We have a lot of rain going on, and embedded inside of that rain, we could see winds perhaps over 40 miles per hour, closer to the 50 mile per hour range. We would not be surprised if we saw a couple gusts 50 or greater within these lines of gusty showers and thunderstorms moving into late Thursday. This is now 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 o'clock, 11, midnight, and we just continue to get bombarded with wind gusts into Friday as the lake effect snow carries those lake effect bands, those snow squalls, all the way over to the east side of the state. And eventually, as the lake effect snow tapers off, so will the winds. This is now 11 a.m. on Friday, noon, 1, and eventually this is the end of the forecast period for the NAM. So those winds start to taper off when the lake effect snow does around early afternoon on Friday. Once we get past that point, should be pretty smooth sailing. Now, Ryan and I were checking this one out. Bear with us here. The NAM 3K, they sometimes like to go a little higher than what is expected. So as you can see here, this is now as of 2 a.m. this upcoming morning. Those wind gusts across the western UP are 60, 70, 75 miles per hour, which is a little overdone. Put the winds on the cooker there, and it looks like they've been cooked a little too long. It's possible, of course, with the terrain there being an influence, but we're leaning more towards the 50 to 60 mile per hour range versus the 60 to 70 for the western UP. It's still going to be very gusty. Scattered power outages are very likely through the midday on Friday. And so as we move this into Thursday morning, this is now 5 a.m., 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you can see those gusty winds now transitioning down into the lower peninsula. This is now winds, as you can see here on the NAM, a little overdone, kind of cooked it a little too long, but those winds, as you can see there in the darker oranges and reds, could be 50 to 55, maybe even closer to 60 mile per hour gusts at times within these gusty showers and thunderstorms. Of course, the strongest of the winds will always be on the lakes as we transition into noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then eventually into the evening hours of 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. Most of our 40 mile per hour winds will transition off into Ontario. It will still be gusty out there as we move into Friday. As I mentioned, we just get that extra line of winds moving through early Friday morning. But as I mentioned, as we get into 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., that's when our winds start to fizzle out. So that is winds. Now we move on to our temperatures. So this is now where we talk about the flash freeze. This is the main thing that everyone's been watching for. Is we understand there's a lot of exams going on for schools on Friday as well as holiday parties. And so being that it is Wednesday and we have 2 days left in the week, some people may be changing their plans for tomorrow instead of Thursday. So we'll start with the HRRR run. Here is our temperatures today. Temperatures got a little higher than forecast out there today. We were cooking in the low 40s due to abundant sunshine. As we move into the overnight hours tonight, temperatures get down to about 32 degrees. Still pretty nice out there. And as we rebound into the afternoon, look at those temperatures for most of the lower peninsula. Very close to 50 for many locations. Again, high 40s expected out there tomorrow. As we move into, this is going to be about 4, 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Temperatures throughout the entire state pretty much still above freezing, but this is where the flash freeze starts. Again, rain is just starting to depart the state, and right in its wake, as I fast forward this quickly, you can see those very, very cold temperatures are rushing in quick. So early as 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for the Western UP. As we move towards 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock, those flash freeze temperatures start to move into the central UP and far northwestern lower Michigan. As we get close to the midnight time frame, that flash freeze kind of takes over in the Grand Rapids area. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Eventually, everybody by around 5 a.m. on Friday. So between the hours of 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. overnight into Friday morning from the HRRR run is when those temperatures drop from near 50 degrees all the way down to, as you can see on the map here, temperatures in the teens to even single digits if you are up in the upper peninsula. We don't get much of a rebound either on Friday. Again, temperatures are going to be in the 20s throughout the day. Previously forecasted to be in the 30s, they are now going to be down into the 20s. So really, if there's not much time to get out there and get those roads salted, they're going to stay icy throughout the day on Friday. Back to the NAM. We talk about the temperatures over here, see if they're a little overdone. We start with tomorrow, of course, temperatures in the 30s, then moving into the 40s as we get into the afternoon. Actually a little bit cooler on this side of things for the NAM, but nevertheless, it's the same story. Flash freeze is coming in, starting around, this is about 8 o'clock, so it's maybe an hour behind the HRRR for the Western UP. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, that's when we start to see those temperatures around and below 32 start to creep in for the Western Michigan portion of Lower Peninsula. As we get towards midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that's when the temperatures are dropping down into the 20s for much of the Lower Peninsula. Portions of the eastern side of the state still above freezing, but as we get into 5 a.m., that is when the flash freeze, English is hard for me tonight, flash freeze takes over for the east side of the state. So ultimately, again, between 7 o'clock p.m. Thursday night and 5 a.m. Friday morning, that is when the flash freeze is going to overtake the state. Temperatures dropping, as I mentioned, from near 50 all the way down to about 18 degrees for some locations. Some locations up there in the western upper peninsula, as I mentioned, near 10 degrees. So that is your rundown. We do have a bunch of graphics that we released on our page over at Michigan Storm Chasers on Facebook as well as Instagram. All a bunch of different social media sites, starting with the wind graphic. This is our forecasted wind graphic. This will likely jump up for our forecast tomorrow. As we move over to precipitation, there's your totals 0.5 to 1 inch in the darker green, between a quarter of an inch to a half an inch in the light green, and some locations may not see a quarter of an inch, and so those locations are listed in gray. Snowfall totals right now going with the trace to 1, 1 to 3. Again, you might see an upgrade to these totals by tomorrow's outlook. So 1 to 3 likely for much of West Michigan as well as up into the UP. 2 to 5 there. Could see a jump up to 4 to 8 in those higher sloped areas. There's your thunderstorm outlook. This is our first thunderstorm outlook in 36 days here for the state of Michigan. Last one was on November 10th. So that is where thunderstorms are most likely tomorrow. Again, it's not a guarantee, but thunderstorms are possible tomorrow in southeast Michigan as well as along the Michigan-Indiana border. And of course, your flash freeze. This timing is from 7 p.m. Thursday, ultimately through 11 a.m. Friday, just to give a little bit of leeway to the timing here. Most of this will freeze between 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. Thursday night into Friday. Again, you can screenshot this map if you would like. Again, it's also available on our social media pages, as I mentioned. Here in the pink is your 7 to 11 range for the flash freeze. Again, this is the start time. So this is the earliest start time that flash freeze is expected. It's not the entire duration. Flash freeze is possible. Once it freezes, it'll stay frozen throughout the entire period into late Friday. 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. for the magenta zone there, primarily West Michigan up into the east central UP. In the blue zone, 2 to 8 a.m. And of course, over on the east side of the state in the thumb, 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. is your projected start time there. So again, you can feel free to check this out on our social media pages. I believe that is it for all of our graphics and all of the information. Wind chills also going to be below zero for the western UP as we move into Friday morning. Again, that is a very large cold air mass coming into the state. Wind chills for the lower peninsula will be in between that 0 to 10 degree range, with a couple spots just dipping below 0 degrees for the wind chill as we move into the morning hours on Friday. So ultimately, it's going to rain. It's going to freeze quickly. It's going to be cold. You might see some snow. It's a lot going on, and it's going to be windy on top of all of that. So expect a couple of scattered power outages throughout the day, Thursday into Friday as well. And just be prepared for everything, because we live here in Michigan, and we're kind of adjusting to it. So that is all. This is the map of the current winter weather alerts for the Upper Peninsula right now, and these are in effect until 1 p.m. or 7 a.m. on Thursday. We'll likely see an extension to those probably very soon. 2 to 6 inches are possible across much of the counties in purple, as you can see on your screen, and 4 inches for Schoolcraft and Alger County there. So these will likely change. We might see a couple of winter weather advisories get thrown into northwest lower, as I mentioned, for Antrim and Kalkaska County if totals are around 6 inches there. Is there anything that I have missed, Ryan, over the last 24 minutes of speaking?
No, I can think of.
Sounds good. So I will go ahead and turn it over to the comments and go ahead and check out, first and foremost, our super chats, which I see we ourselves gifted 5 memberships here at Michigan Storm Chasers. So if you are a subscriber on YouTube, you may have just been gifted courtesy of us for 30 days here at Michigan Storm Chasers. So there you guys go. We also have Red Dozier with a $50 super chat saying, so I came here for the impending doom and gloom, and it sounds like I'll get it. Thank you, Red, for that $50 super chat. Again, it's not all doom and gloom as long as you are prepared. And of course, take care out there in West Michigan. Appreciate your support as always. And we also have Robert back for month number 18 saying, thanks, MSC team. No problem.
We do have a best case scenario still with this event with the flash freeze. There is potential that wind could dry up some of that moisture on the roads. Likely not all of it, but a good chunk of it may get evaporated by the wind. We don't know that for sure just yet because the timing of when the rain moves out and when that freeze comes in, it's about a 2-hour gap or so, but the wind in that time may evaporate some of it. So it's not all doom and gloom. There is potential. We could luck out in some areas. Play it by ear.
See more comments asking to go through the reflectivity again, since I was at the beginning of the briefing, and I will go ahead and do that. For start time, for the earliest of the rain, it's pretty much going to be right when you guys are waking up tomorrow. This is the model run as of 7 a.m., 8 a.m. off the HRRR, and so you can see our early showers starting to advance in as early as 8 a.m. As we get towards that late morning hours and early afternoon, those rain showers make it over to the east side of the state. And then we got our main batch of heavier rain, not likely to be producing thunderstorms. There could be. It's kind of flipping back and forth between which line will have it. But most likely, this will be all rain as this moves into the late afternoon hours. This is now 5 p.m. So if we go back here, there's 4 p.m., 3 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And really between that 7 to maybe 9 o'clock time frame, there might be a little bit of time for those roads to dry out with the winds that we're getting out there. So if you don't want to flash freeze, fingers crossed, we can get enough of a dry slot in the backside of that rain to dry it all out, and that will result in dry roads for Friday, and everyone can go along with their plans that they had scheduled for them. I will say this. I know this was kind of advice that we've been seeing tossed by you guys in our chat here at Michigan Storm Chasers, but over on Facebook, we've had a lot of comments out there today saying if you have kids in school, make sure to be prepared to bring your stuff home from break tomorrow, Thursday, just in case. You might still have school on Friday, but it's always good to bring home as much stuff as possible on Thursday in case you do get a delay, or even better, or worse, depends on how your viewpoint is on it, a full closing on Friday. So keep that in mind. Precipitation going forward from 7 p.m. Here's 8, here's 9. That's when it starts to transition over to the lake effect snow with some snow squalls crossing the entire state. Into midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and pretty much all the way through the morning hours on Friday morning is when lake effect snow is likely to be ongoing. So that is your runtime for that. Also have Fun Times over here on YouTube, back for month number 5 as an EF2 member. Thank you very much, Fun Times, saying happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you as well. And Red Dozier now gifting 10 memberships for those who are subscribed on YouTube. Thank you very much, Red. Again, if you're watching over on Facebook or any of our other social media platforms, gifted memberships are often gifted here, and they are 30 days in length, just one way to support the channel. They will also automatically expire after 30 days. And Fun Times also back with 10 gifted memberships as well. So it sounds like it's a gifted membership party here tonight, Ryan. Thank you very much, Fun and Red, for your continuous support of the channel.
Appreciate everybody's support here, memberships, super chats, stickers. You guys are all awesome, helping us, keeping us operational. Love it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Caden back for month number 8 as an EF0 member saying, can we get a snow day? Thank you for informing us. Unfortunately, we are not your superintendents, so we don't have any power in the matter. We can only give weather advice. So, again, right now it's looking like there is, greater than a 50% chance at a flash freeze for Friday morning. But again, it's a chance. If you look at it the other way, there's maybe a 30% chance that you don't get that flash freeze as expected. So, fingers crossed. I don't know if the rules still apply for flushing ice cubes down the toilet, spoons under pillows. I don't know what the whole thing is with that.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a bunch of different things that go with trying to get a snow day. There's a bunch of different things. I know people in chat know what I'm kind of talking about there, but yeah.
I've seen the comment before. I have no idea what it means though.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for your support, Caden, as always. Pajamas backwards. Yep, that's one of them. Or inside out.
Superstition.
Yeah, a bunch of superstitions that go into snow days. Technically, this would be considered an ice day, unless you're, of course, in the UP where they are actually getting snow. Seems like everyone knows the PJ one. Backwards and inside out. So some people are saying it's backwards. Some people are saying PJ's inside out. I think the best way to do it is backwards and inside out is one of the comments mentioned here. Spoon under pillow. Yep, that's the one I was trying to get at.
I've never heard of any of these.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
Got the Castle in here with a $2 super chat, just saying thanks for everything you guys do. No problem. Thank you for tuning in tonight and your support as always. Julie says, spoon under pillow, ice cubes in toilets, pajamas inside out. Kids do the virtual online school, so don't get snow days. Boo. Can make your own. We won't tell anybody. Yeah, fun little superstitions that have kind of come about in the last couple of years. So, again, the graphic on your screen is the approximate start time for the flash freeze. The start time, not the entire time it's supposed to be ongoing. Again, temperatures are going to be freezing throughout the day on Friday. So, once you are frozen, you will stay frozen until maintenance crews are able to get out and treat your roads. Yes, there's a likely chance of a flash freeze. I would say at this point it's a greater chance of getting a flash freeze versus not. I would say probably 70-30 flash freeze versus not flash freeze. Yes, there's a chance of thunderstorms in southeast Michigan. There is your thunderstorm outlet.
Crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy to think about.
Every month. For those who are new Michiganders here, first off, welcome. If you're just moving in from a different state, we do get anything at any time of the year. It's very rare to get it in the winter, of course, being that we are so far from our source of moisture and warmth, but we are having enough warmth tomorrow and enough shear, which is our overall wind speed in the atmosphere, to get a couple gusty showers, perhaps a couple gusty rumbles of thunder. Not for the entire state, of course, but the greatest chances are those locations indicated in tan on the graphic you see on your screen. Oh, that's another thing I was going to mention. it's going to be in a post later tonight on our Facebook page, but a flash freeze is not the same thing as an ice storm. They are two completely different things, and we understand a lot of you guys may have some PTSD from earlier this year with that ice storm. We completely understand. Thankfully, this is not going to be anything like that happened in late March, early April. So, good news there. Bad news is roads are still going to be slick, so you still want to take your time out there and allow extra time to get to your destination. For those who actually would like to know the difference, ice storm is the rain that's falling and freezing as it falls, versus a flash freeze is rain that's already fallen. It's still just kind of lingering on the ground, and as colder temperatures rush in, it's freezing that water that is just on the ground primarily.
That's a good way to put it too, Joel. I was trying to think of a good way to put that, but
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of comments about that and how it's freezing rain. But I mean, technically, it is kind of freezing rain, but it's not officially freezing rain. It's rain that freezes, but it's not falling as. It's complicated.
Yes.
But Joel explained it very, very well.
I was talking to a couple of schools I visited this week for presentations. And I was asking them, what's the policy for exams on Friday that get canceled? And ultimately, being it's grade school, they'll ultimately just push it until after the break. So definitely check with your school because it might be different if they might push it early the day tomorrow. So study tonight just in case. If not, most schools will usually push it to the first week after Christmas break. I know from previously being in academia myself, not even a year ago, well, about a year and a half ago now, getting those exams after a long holiday is tough. So we understand there's positives and negatives to having exams pushed until after a long break. As Julie says, if you thought this information was helpful tonight, feel free to smash that like button. It is free to do. It takes about 0.3 seconds. I implore you to do it. Try and get quicker than 0.3 seconds. It all helps support operations here at MSC full time.
Excuse me. A lot of people. Well, I can't talk tonight. I'm just going to lean back and shut up.
What were you going to say? Talk about what White Christmas?
No, but that's another one we can talk about. But I was going to say there are a lot of people who do not know that we are all full-time here at MSC.
That's correct.
This is our full-time job, so support from you guys means a lot to us. You guys have no idea. We're not just a bunch of dudes who do this in our free time. We are full-time dedicated to this. That's why we have sponsors. That's why we have super chats. You guys are awesome supporting us. It's a community effort, and it's all really provided by you guys because you guys keep us going. So appreciate everybody who does supports and likes, comments, shares. Even if it's just a like, comment, or share, it still goes a long way.
And I believe, Ryan, it's been, I think tomorrow is the day, but officially 1 year since I graduated from CMU. Came on as a full-time meteorologist here. So, I mean, for those who don't know, I was part of the team since the start, but officially going full-time at the end of 2024, start of 2025, right when I graduated, was a awesome just kind of chain of events there. So it's been 1 full year, around one full rotation around the sun, as people say. So,
hey, Joel, go ahead and check out Chat M. I got a question there for you. Yes, fire up chips. I did not go to CMU, but Joel indeed did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the question here has to do with presentation in February. Yeah, so I will be speaking at the Flight Museum, I believe, in Flint in the first week of February. Feel free to go ahead and check out their page. More information about that can be found there. So, yeah, it's exciting. That's going to be coming up in the new year. So, can't wait to go out and meet some of you guys if you're in the Flint area. Also, I have a couple more super chats here. One from Red Dozier, $5 super chat. Kind of goes back to what we were saying about the like button being the best way of supporting. She says, hit that like button, everyone, ... please. So, asking nicely. Thank you very much, Red, for that. And Ladybug, back from month number 8, saying, "Glad I don't have to get out those days." It's a nice time to be kind of sitting inside while this band of rain, wind, and snow moves through for Thursday into Friday. So we are right there with you. Have your generator ready as well, just in case you are one of those unlucky people that does lose power. Yeah, no problem.
Next update will be likely tomorrow, right around noon, perhaps a little bit later on than that. We might go live for a final update to give you guys the latest info. TBD on that. I'll be out of the office all morning, so it'll be in Joel's hands if he wants to go live earlier before that, but afternoon will be when I'd be available. Either way, we'll have updates on the pages, Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram.
Yeah, if any closures on Friday would likely be due to ice that has formed on the roads from leftover rain that's falling tomorrow, Thursday.
Barbara, you can rewind this stream anytime when it's over. You can play back. You can also play back on YouTube as well if you prefer that platform.
Yeah, you do have to be careful about typing in all caps here in chat. The auto mod will get you. You guys got to understand, during the summer, especially when we get these larger live streams, when severe weather is covering the entire state, we do get a lot of spam in our chats. And so our auto mod is kind of picky in terms of what it mutes and what it doesn't. So even in these smaller attended live streams, the rules still do apply. So keep that in mind. With all of this winter weather talk, anybody in chat excited for thunderstorms to come back? Curious. Right, it's like, yep, absolutely.
I've had my fix of snow for the year. I'm ready for warmer weather.
No problem, Andy.
Yes, me, no. That's a great start. Yep. Please, thunderstorms. Looks like a lot of you guys say yes to it.
You'll be back before you know it. It's best to enjoy this. It's best to enjoy the seasons though while we do have them.
When I was running the page this summer, and I was posting those days until fall, days until winter, sunset time, stuff like that, it all flies by so fast because when you actually get to those points, it's like, wasn't I just posting about this not like last week? And then finally you're there. So yeah. We got to keep hope up, guys. If we do another days until spring, just keep posting it until it gets closer and closer. And finally, it'll be here before you know it.
Personally, from my just experience, I do love all four of the seasons. I do like my snow. It does get old, obviously, once you get into that February, even late January. But primarily when you get into February and you already had snow for so long, it's like, all right, warmer weather, come on, let's go. But yeah, wouldn't really live anywhere else. You know, it's fun to experience all four seasons every month of the year. So, yeah, just gotta enjoy them while we have them. For those who missed it, flash freeze means the temperatures are jumping from your 40s and the 50s down to 10 to 20 degrees after rain has already come through. And so that rain that's on the surface will freeze in a flash. That's what it's called, flash freeze. So over the span of a couple hours, that rain will change into ice on any flat surfaces on the ground. Got Kalamazoo Candy, $5 super chat saying, thanks for making me aware of what I might be driving in on Friday. No problem. Stay safe out there. Appreciate your support as always. You are a bunch of dudes. Cool dudes. Thank you very much. Yes. I know Ryan was talking about how we're not just a bunch of dudes, so probably referencing that. Meteorologists and forecasters alike. Will the Saginaw Bay flash freeze? Asking for a friend. I'm pretty sure it's already frozen over. Although...
a lot of areas are, but
yeah.
most of it's fast ice.
Yes.
Which, translating, that is not safe to walk on.
Yes, not a good time to go out and try and fish on it. We have unfortunately heard of the news that 4 people have passed away in ice-related instances this year, so you do have to be careful. I know we've had kind of very below average temperatures causing a lot of those inland lakes to freeze up, but still, you want to be safe because ultimately we give you these ice guides, but no ice is safe ice. Or all ice is not safe ice, whatever way you want to say it. Yes, flat surfaces. Yes, Jordan. Yeah, primarily a steady rain in southeast Michigan tomorrow morning. A little bit maybe of a later start compared to portions of southwest Michigan, but it should be pretty steady, maybe a couple of gaps in there. By the time we get into the afternoon hours, that's when it's going to be pretty much all rain. We get that nice shield of rain advancing along the cold front. So maybe kind of intermittent to start, but once we get into the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hours, that's when it starts to become all rain. And remember, you can still hydroplane in heavier rain, so you do want to take it nice and easy out there. It was. I will say this: there was a lot of information that we put out on the page today, so it's a lot of details to kind of have to keep track of, and so hopefully we're able to kind of calm the nerves a little bit and give you guys a rundown of what to expect hour by hour to the best of our abilities. Again, weather is fickle, and it does change every once in a while, including perhaps as soon as tonight and into tomorrow. So we'll roll with the punches, and we'll give you guys the most up-to-date information as we go from hour to hour. Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you guys for saying thank you. It means a lot to us. If there's ice, I stay home, no question. It's a good, safe bet. Yeah, we're getting to about that point. I know there's a couple questions coming in about the conditions for Christmas. Right now, it's still been flipping back and forth a lot. We have a couple different long-range models that we're looking at, and we're kind of in zonal flow moving into next week, which for those who don't know is that it's like a straight line across from the west coast to the east coast. It's the boundary, so it's the jet stream. And if it wobbles to the north by 50 miles, we could see temperatures 50 degrees, maybe even higher into southern Michigan. If it wobbles to the south by 50 miles, all of a sudden it's temperatures in the 30s and perhaps a little bit of lake effect snow. So it's a little far out. We may see tomorrow, if we have some extra time, a first call forecast for chance of a white Christmas. But again, it's still about 7 days out, so we're still monitoring the trends, and that zonal flow will be kind of do or die in terms of whether or not we get a white Christmas, especially for the Lower Peninsula. The primary travel concerns will be on Friday morning, no matter where you are at in the state. So even if you're in southeast Michigan, northwest Michigan, and all the way over in the western UP where they're going to have lake effect snow mixing in, it's going to be bad no matter what. The only way it's not going to be bad is if your road maintenance crews can keep up with any dry slots that do occur. Yes, there is a Joel dance today. Thank you for reminding me, Julie. We'll wrap it up here in just a second, but before we do, we'll go ahead and jump over to our sponsors before we leave. Again, sponsors are the main reason why we're able to do this full time. Again, they are also trusted, so make sure to reach out to them. If you have primarily roofing, restoration work that you need done, any exterior work on your house, a lot of sponsors in here that kind of go along with that whole theme. There's also a bunch of sponsors in here that are kind of on their own in terms of what they kind of specialize in. So feel free to read through them, take screenshots of their phone number, write them down on your maybe notepad as we go through them. So feel free to check them out. We'll start first and foremost with StormGuard Roofing and Construction, based out of North Metro Detroit. Got Katz Roofing and Siding, based out of the Potterville and Lansing area. Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding. They are based out of Sanilac and St. Clair County. For all of your tree needs in southeast Michigan, call McKay Tree Specialist today. And in West Michigan, Kuiper Tree Care. For all of your barn dominium needs across the Lower Peninsula, FBI Buildings got you covered. On Top Roofing, for all of your roofing needs in the Livingston County area, based out of Howell. Top Gun Roofing and Exteriors, based out of West Michigan. A-Class Construction and Restoration, based out of Mason County, up there near Ludington. Rainbow Restoration, also based in West Michigan. Rapid Radios, for all of your radio communication needs, turn to Rapid Radios. They specialize in LTE wireless walkie-talkies. For all of your security camera needs, turn to Guardian. Guardian Technologies, based out of Burton, Michigan, also our sponsor of our weather camera network across the state of Michigan. If you're feeling in the spirit of giving this holiday season, feel free to donate to the Ronald McDonald House of Detroit. The number on the screen can be found there. Our sponsor of the day, also here at Michigan Storm Chasers, and one of our long-standing sponsors, is American Arbor, based out of Southwest Michigan, for all of your tree care needs. Apex Restoration, for all of your restoration needs in the Thumb and Genesee County region. And finally, Clear Plow Snow Pushers, for all of your snow removal needs in terms of helping yourself out when it comes to shoveling your driveway. Feel free to contact Clear Plow Snow Pushers to make that job easier for you. Number is there on your screen, and they are based in Michigan as well, Frankenmuth to be exact. We also have Plymouth Miracle League as one of our sponsors here at Michigan Storm Chasers through the end of the year. So that is all of our sponsors. Let's go ahead and go over to the comments section for perhaps another question or two, and then we'll go ahead and sign off with a dance and a conclusion. Snowfall from Holland. We'll go ahead and table back to our snowfall maps. This is our first call for snowfall, starting late Thursday into Friday. Primarily going to be falling overnight into Friday morning. Holland area kind of in that 1 to 3 zone as it stands right now. Would love to have a 70-degree Christmas like 1982. That would be, I know for most people, kind of subpar, but again, a lot of people do have to travel. And so we understand, having nice clear roads for that day would be awesome. Okay. No problem, Becca. And going back to the sponsor thing, if you guys would like to become a trusted partner in 2026, applications are now open. Got limited spots available, but again, if you would like to support what we do at Michigan Storm Chasers, while also getting your business out there to millions of individuals, feel free to send us an email. The email is chandler@michiganstormchasers.com. And if you'd like to sponsor a camera, Ryan's sitting down there at the bottom of the screen. He's your guy. Ryan at michiganstormchasers.com is the email to contact there. We're kind of in a pause right now for the weather cameras, but we'll resume early spring 2026 for the state of Michigan. We've got 93 out there right now installed across the state.
I'm actually starting to contact people regarding the cameras. We have about 13 people pending that you need to reach out to, and I started that process today. So
Sweet.
We will have installs coming your way in the new year, more than likely. So we're excited for it.
Yeah. Weather camera tour. It'd be very hard to tour all of those weather cameras, especially in person. We do have a map. It's been a while since we showed off our map. I can't really get to it right now, but if you guys would like to check out all the live cameras that we have 24/7, feel free to check out our alternate YouTube channel. Yes, we do have 2 YouTube channels. This is our main one that you guys are watching us on tonight, Michigan Storm Chasers, but our alternate one is Michigan Weather Network. So that is where all of our 24/7 live cameras are hosted around the state. And that amounts to about 1/3 of the cameras we have in our network. Yes, there will be hazards no matter where you are in the state, especially going into the early hours on Friday. It's going to be a little bit hazardous out there if you are driving. So take that into account. It just depends on how well the dry slot, if any, allows for the winds to evaporate that rain prior to the freeze, and if your road crews can keep up with the flash freeze as well. So there are 2 factors that can stop the flash freeze before it happens. So fingers crossed that your area is one of those spots. Flash freeze timing is for, as you can see on your screen, Thursday into Friday. Timing is approximate. Timing key is down there in the left side of the screen, so it starts going from west to east across the state. So you'll see 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. is the approximate start time for the western UP, 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. for central UP and portions of northwest lower, 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. for primarily all of the lower peninsula, except for the east side of the state, which will be as early as 5 a.m. or as late as 11 a.m. there in red. Again, we wish we were your superintendents. We'd have some say in the matter, but unfortunately, that decision is made by your actual superintendents. We just give the weather. Other than that, though, I believe we're out of questions, so we'll go ahead and transition into more of our closing here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Again, thank you guys for following us. Not only if you're new here, but throughout our years here at Michigan Storm Chasers. We're not going anywhere in 2026, so feel free to join the team today. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. It's free to do, as well as the follow button on Facebook or Twitch TV if you're watching there, or even on X if you are watching there. Big plans coming for 2026, so we hope you stick around. And of course, thank you guys for watching tonight here at MSC. Now, as for that dance, here at Michigan Storm Chasers, every time we hit a 5K milestone, I always have to repeat it because for those who are new coming in here for the first time and they're seeing me dancing on screen for the first time, they'll be like, well, what the heck is going on here? Well, that's what we do. Until we get to 100,000, every time we hit a 5,000 milestone, I will be doing a little bit of an impromptu dance or something that's given by you guys in chat, just as a way of saying thanks and I guess celebration for hitting a new milestone. We just recently hit 70,000 on YouTube, so thank you guys very much. Our next milestone will be 75,000.
What?
see.
That was not me. It autocorrected itself. I did not do that. I swear.
Oh man. Yeah. Ryan's trying to get a link to something behind the scenes, and it's typing something absolutely funny. That's why we're laughing. It's nothing on the stream itself, but
One of our moderators in chat here asked me if I had a link ready for them, and I said, "Hold on," and it autocorrected to some crazy thing.
yeah.
I don't know how I happened, but we got it fixed.
All right. Also, those winter weather advisories you see at the bottom of the screen, those are in effect for the western and central UP along Lake Superior. All the counties listed there are scrolling across the bottom of the screen in case you're curious. It's in effect until Friday morning at 7 a.m. I thought it said Thursday morning. I guess I was wrong. Friday morning, excuse me, at... No. Now it says Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon at 1 p.m. So those, again, are for the western UP and along Lake Superior shoreline across central UP. Once we get into Friday afternoon, I will say this, the road crews should be able to keep up once we get into Friday afternoon, so driving should become a little bit easier if you have any driving concerns past noon on Friday. Anyways, you guys ready? I don't think anyone's ready for this. Full screen it. I gotta use the green screen more often. As long as it's not blurry. I got a hat. It's from an old Halloween costume of mine. I kid you not.
Full screen, Joel.
Ryan's turning off his camera, so he doesn't want to be in this.
This is all you.
I got a hat. Hi, everybody. You love my hat? Actually, okay. So fun fact about this: I actually went hiking with this hat on at the Pictured Rocks in the UP once back in.
You know what? I remember seeing that picture. Was that on your profile picture for a while?
It was, yes.
Okay. Same hat.
And my headphones just died, so now I'm going to be able to not hear you guys. So, but this is my hat, and I will be dancing in it. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. Ryan, feel free to speak up. I can't hear you right now. Okay. Shout out to Ladybug for the 499 Super sticker. Appreciate you so much. And yeah, here's our dance. Here's my dance for 70,000 on YouTube. So simply put, since I'm wearing this hat, we're coming in hot on a horse. How's it going? Yes, call me the professor. And to end it all, wave the arms sideways. 6, 7, 8, 9. You're welcome, parents. That is your dance for 70,000. And a dab. Now my hair's all gonna be messed up. There you go. For those who are just tuning in, every time we hit a milestone here at Michigan Storm Chasers, I do a little bit of a dance. And hopefully that was able to provide you guys with a little bit of entertainment tonight here at Michigan Storm Chasers. So we do keep it professional, but often we will have these little spurts of fun when we have the chance. So there you go. Trying to figure out how to get your camera back on. There we go. Ha. And the chat's loving it. Thank you guys very much for that. Ryan, feel free to speak up. I can't hear you. We're going to just put the ear pods back in.
I'm not coming through on your speaker.
There we go. There you are.
All right. I was thinking I could get you on TikTok at some point and do some dances.
Yes. Well, with that being said, that's it for tonight. I am Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma, alongside President Ryan, right down below me, and we are the Michigan Storm Chasers. Take care. In case we're back tomorrow, feel free to tune in then. Otherwise, drive safely out there, and we'll talk to you soon. See you, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you, Fun Times, for the $20 super chat.